is now. And welcome to the SVK Crypto podcast. 15 minutes of crypto fame.
My name's Charles Storry. I'll be your host for the next 15 minutes. We're coming live from the city of London, Shoreditch. So let's get down to business. So day 3 focused on the EOS IO protocol, the EOS Hackathon, the big build up. We have David Packham, who is co-founder of EOS 42, a top 21 block producer. So let's jump into the interview and find out a little bit more. Great. So on the show, we have David Packham, who is the co-founder of EOS 42, part of the top 21 block producers on the EOS mainnet. David, how's it going?
I'm great, thanks, Charles. How are you?
Doing well. Looking forward to seeing you later at the SVK Crypto event. Yeah,
I'm excited. You've got another killer lineup. It's going to be amazing.
Indeed. So, David, let's find out a little bit more about EOS 42. Can you bring the listeners up to speed with what you guys are doing in the space?
Yeah, absolutely. So EOS 42 was one of the earliest block producers that launched on the EOS mainnet in terms of as a candidacy, rather. We launched in January and started getting really actively involved with the community, trying to shape some of the early direction relating to thought and governance, and try and help bring some cohesion in the community there. And one of the other big things we did early on was to look at trying to work out what a big early deliverable for the community would be, and build a large software project, which is where the Shintai token leasing platform project kicked off in February. And that's really actually been a story of how our block producer has ended up coming about, because from drawing on the community around the world to find the development team for that, we've ended up finding our core team, who've ended up joining EOS 42 subsequently. So we're now a team of 9 in 6 different countries across 3 continents, and most of those have ended up coming about and joining us as a result of Shintai. So it's been a great example for me, I think, of putting in a lot of time and effort into something positive has ended up having these unintended consequences and benefits for us as well. So it's been great. Outside of that, we've been doing a lot of work with regards to trying to support the community post mainnet launch, with things like the issues relating to token keys loss and registration issues as well. So we launched the EOS 911 service straight after the mainnet launch, just in response to that need there. And we're currently building out a more defined site and alert service that's going to actually enable people to subscribe to that and be made aware of potential frauds as soon as they're actually identified on the mainnet, to try and add an extra level of awareness and information protection there for people as well. So it's been an amazing 9 months really since we went all in and started launching this as a BP candidacy, and we've just been focusing primarily on technical excellence in block production itself, so trying to make sure we do our basic job as well as we possibly can, building out the development team so we've got the capacity to build more for the community going forwards. And then the other side is the investment side as well. So we've just made a first investment in Lumios, which is one of the better EOS-based projects that's looking to deploy over the next 6 months. So it's exciting times, and I think the team that we've got, I couldn't be working with a better bunch of people. It's been an incredible journey so far.
Well, I know you guys are always working, and as well as the other BPs, you're always adding value to the community. But let's find out a little bit more. So what made EOS 42 want to become a block producer? I mean, what was the original idea behind this? What was the vision? Was it the EOS protocol that sold you? I mean, what was the motivation to become a block producer in the first place?
The real motivation was I'd spent about 6 months learning Solidity and trying to work out how to build a scalable application on Ethereum, and realizing that it wasn't achievable. At that point, that was when I discovered EOS pretty soon after the ICO first actually activated, and that I became completely sold on its potential, because I by then was already familiar with both BitShares and Steam and could see its scalability potential. And then the more I looked into the whole aspects around governance of it and adding in these extra controls and so on, I just became more and more excited by it. So when then I became aware of what block producers would be on the mainnet, and I understood that they were far more than just Ethereum proof of stake miners, and that their role was meant to be this diverse hybrid of value add, I became really excited because something like that is just a huge opportunity if you're looking to move full time into the crypto space like I was, and for me it was just a sort of dream potential role, and for me therefore it's a no brainer that we would go all in and run.
Oh, I love that, man. The story, the engagement. So what I really love about block producers at the minute, and you mentioned it briefly a second ago, was the fact that obviously the block producers are voted in by the community. So what's really interesting is the block producers are like, well, how can we spread awareness? Well, let's do stuff for the community. So you just mentioned an investment you have in, is it Lumios?
Yeah, Lumios. That's right. Yep.
Lumios, and obviously a lot of the other block producers as well are very active in creating, whether it be wallets. I know Greymass created a cool wallet, or just giving back. I know you're also very active in the meetup scene here in London. You've built a really great community with the EOS London guys, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that was actually my first pathway into all of this, in the sense that there had been some very early meetups for EOS London back in September, which tied in with Blockchain Live last year. And then there really had been sort of radio silence, so that by the time I was really itching for a meetup and to meet some of the EOS London community, nothing was really happening. So throughout November and December, there was just radio silence on the meetup site. And so I just basically nagged my way into getting involved as one of the co-organisers for it, and started pushing to get, a February meetup underway, and it was pretty small. And then the March one, we did a bigger job there and added a developer meetup in April, and then we went. By the time we got to May, there was so much momentum behind it. We ended up with the likes of Bitfinex giving the major presentation there. We had Ian Grigg, and then by the time it got to June, of course, a certain well-known crypto fund were announcing a huge Block One tie-in as well, and on a massive stage. So it's amazing how these things all come about and reach a certain level of momentum.
Absolutely. And it's interesting as well, London, how many block producers do we have? Like 4 or 5? I think we've got quite a few here in the big city.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on when you what you go with sort of tie-ins, because EOS DAC, for example, the underlying core team, they all sort of come from the Bristol area, really, although there are some from elsewhere. But it's a DAC, right? So it's from all around the world now. And but then, yeah, I mean, the main two are definitely EOS Authority and ourselves, who are all firmly kind of London-based. And the Authority guys are terrific. The job they did with a relatively small runway of time, by us adding huge value-add tools that the community wanted and loved and still use now, and are the de facto go-to. I've said it to many people, including my own team. If you want to see the secret to how to become a successful block producer, look at what EOS Authority have been doing, which is to build things that the community want and add value. And it really is as simple as that if you're looking at it from a sort of strategy perspective as to what to do. But then, of course, the temptation with these things is to just sit there and start trying to build pet projects that aren't really that necessary, or maybe don't actually add that much value. So it is a big deal to try and take a step back and not get over excited about an idea. And this is what you see, of course, with investment too. When you start to look at all these projects going around, there are some great ideas, but there are a number that you look at and realize aren't really satisfying an underlying need properly with blockchain. And that's where the analytical side of things for any BPs that, like ourselves, have an incubator facility
I want to say a big thank you for David coming on the show. Sadly, the audio file at the end of the audio clip was a little bit corrupted, so we weren't able to play that. But I will say a big thank you once again to David for making it on the show. I know how busy he is, being a top 21 block producer on the EOS IO protocol. With that in mind, that's a wrap. I got to bounce. Thank you for your time, your attention, and remember as always to join us on all of our social channels. Telegram, SVK Crowd, Twitter at SVK_crypto, and of course, feel free to email myself, Storry, CSTORRY at svkcrypto.com. That's a wrap.
You've been listening to an SVK Crypto podcast original. Follow us on Twitter at SVK_crypto. email us on cstorry@svkcrypto.com. Leave us a message on our website, www.svkcrypto.com.